Welcome to our movie review. Today we'll explain the movie Sidekicks, released in the year 1992. The antagonist is seen holding a woman hostage in the opening scene. The hero shows up in an all-white outfit and takes down the gangsters in their entirety. He is assisted in the fight by a sidekick who is decked out in the same outfit. In the end, they save the day and save the damsel in distress. When the hero removes his mask, we can see that he is none other than the legendary actor Chuck Norris, and his sidekick is a young man by the name of Barry. Barry abruptly awakens in his classroom and realizes that the battle was only a dream. He experiences an asthma attack as a result of the taunts he receives from his classmates. Barry is a shy asthmatic boy who experiences a lot of bullying at school. He spends his days creating fantasies in his head, mostly about him being Chuck Norris's sidekick in his fantasies. He has human strength and confidence, everything that he lacks in real life. Barry frequently imagines fighting his actual bullies to protect his beloved teacher Noreen, who is concerned about Barry's persistent daydreaming and waning focus after school. After talking with his father, she decides to enroll Barry in karate lessons. He can keep himself occupied and practice his combat techniques in this manner. They visit Kelly Stone, a haughty dojo owner who boasts about his contributions to the sport and likens himself to Chuck Norris. He also disparages all other karate instructors and believes he is superior to them all. Barry and his father simply leave after realizing the person is a bad teacher. At school, Noreen finds out about the failed meeting. Her uncle Mr. Lee is coming to the US soon to work in her family restaurant. She thinks he'll be the perfect teacher for Barry since the two share some personality traits. Then we're introduced to Mr. Lee. He's in the subway station when a man calls him a racist slur. In turn, Lee uses one of his many tricks to make his jacket catch on fire. Later that day, Barry meets Mr. Lee at his restaurant. For his first lesson, he's asked to walk to school starting the next day, then slowly upgrade to running. Lee wants to improve his endurance because working him too much might trigger his asthma and make it worse. As they talk in the kitchen, Barry's father and Noreen are outside enjoying a meal together. Since losing his wife 10 years ago, Mr. Gabrielski has been single. It appears that Noreen is drawn to him. Unexpectedly, some thugs show up at the restaurant and start to cause trouble. Lee is asked to take charge of the situation outdoors. He acts inebriated before attacking the thugs. Barry, who has previously been dubious, is now eager to learn how to fight. The next day, as he makes his way to school, he is once again sidetracked by a daydream. He and Chuck Norris are acting as soldiers this time, defending Noreen from terrorists. Before Barry returns to reality, they pull off crazy acts and eliminate all the adversaries. A sympathetic classmate named Lauren offers to drive him there, but he rejects. Lauren knows about Barry's condition and is worried about him. In class, the history teacher asks a popular kid, Randy, a question. He is made fun of for not knowing the answer. A minute later, Barry reveals the correct answer, humiliating Randy even more. Hence, when the class ends, the bully pushes Barry to the floor. He is stomped on and asked to stay away from the cool kids. Everyone surrounds him, but no one dares to stand against Randy. In fact, they take his side and call Barry names. Randy also finds a Chuck Norris magazine on the floor and tears it before leaving. He declares that Lauren is only friends with Barry because she pities him. Barry is left heartbroken but largely enraged after the commotion. On his first day of training, he channels all of his rage towards learning various fundamental skills. He has to take numerous breaths because of his asthma, yet he persists. In the scene that follows, Barry is watching others practice during gym class and once again becomes lost in his own thoughts. Barry is this time Chuck's sidekick, the Little Wolf, a cowboy known as the Lone Wolf. After overcoming the thugs, they enter a pub for drinks. When the waitress Noreen is troubled by the bad cowboys, the pair once again protects her. Suddenly, Barry's gym teacher brings him out of his fantasy and scolds him for not paying attention. As a punishment, he is asked to climb a rope. Everyone in the class knows that Barry is the least athletic of them all. They're ready to make fun of him, but he surprises everyone by climbing to the top. After school, he and Lauren walk back home together. Barry takes the opportunity to tell her that he has a crush on her. Lauren, however, claims that she only sees him as a friend. This confirms that Randy was right. She's only friends with him because she pities him. A heartbroken Barry runs to his house, triggering an asthma attack. This further causes him to dream of another scenario. He is being suffocated with chains by his gym teacher, who is the villain in the scenario. When Barry wakes up, he's in an ambulance being rushed to the hospital. Lee and Noreen pay him a visit to make sure everything is alright. She is surprised by the attack because the doctor reports that his lungs appear to be in good condition. Lee appears to comprehend the issue as he applies a special cream on Barry's breast. The child benefits considerably over time, and they also slow down the training tempo to ensure that Barry has enough rest. Along with that, he must consume an odd medication that will improve his stamina 4 times per day. By the end of the week, he wants to participate in the gym class because it has helped him so much. The instructor doesn't want to let him because she thinks he'll visit the hospital once more. But when Barry insists, he has no option but to let him. The next day, Noreen, Gabrielski, Lee and Barry are together when Noreen shows them her karate skills, since she was trained from a young age. She's a very good fighter. Gabrielski is impressed, to say the least. When the two are alone, she teaches him a few of her moves. The interaction brings them close, but they refrain from getting too friendly. Barry and Lee have a lengthy discussion about Barry's daydreams one day. Lee counsels him to make an effort to manage his thoughts. His daydreams will be more intense and may even become reality if he has less of them. Barry continues to work out and gets stronger over time. He even starts to blow hard, striking his master and admonishing Lee to use greater caution. Barry throws away his inhaler, which shows Lee that his endurance has increased significantly. Randy makes the error of calling him names since his peers are unaware of how much he has changed. This time, Barry defends himself and responds angrily. As a result, Randy attacks him, but he manages to attack back, surprising everyone. A fight starts between the two, but Randy puts up a tough competition, being a karate trainee himself. The commotion stops only when their gym teacher intervenes. A while later, Lauren approaches Barry, praising his fighting skills. She also asks him out on a date to the zoo on the weekend. Barry happily agrees, forgetting that she dumped him not long ago. Barry is having another daydream in the scenario that follows. The villain takes Noreen as a captive once more because she betrayed the gang, this time as he and Chuck Norris assault a narcotics warehouse. Inside piñatas, they are concealing bags containing illegal narcotics. Chuck Norris then makes a stunning entry after a sudden explosion. The gangster commands his men to capture him, but another explosion occurs before they can. A firefight starts as Barry, the sidekick, enters the warehouse this time. Strangely, Barry outperforms Chuck by killing more people. He amazes the fictitious Chuck as well, since he is braver than previously. After defeating the enemies, they go to save Noreen and find out she has changed into Lauren. Chuck asks him how this is possible, to which Barry replies that it's his dream and he's the main character in it. He has finally learned to control his thoughts and mend them in a way that he prefers. The next day at school, Randy challenges Barry to an official fight in a karate tournament. Initially, he's not confident in his skills, but upon being motivated by the master, he agrees to take part. For the next week, he trains harder than ever. Till now, he had been practicing to increase his endurance, but now he trains to fight and defend. Finally, the competition day arrives. Barry is asked to watch the karate demonstration before the game to relax, which is contrary to what he had anticipated. Noreen enters their name into the team while he is away, but it turns out that the tournament is a 4-person competition. Lee and she are welcome to join Barry, but they will still be missing one. Although she makes an effort to argue with the organizer, they are firm about the regulations. Lee and Noreen overhear a girl discussing Chuck Norris as they discuss how sad the child will be. It turns out that as a champion of karate himself, he has grown to appreciate the competition as well. Lee has an idea and rushes to the actor, where Chuck runs into the haughty Stone. Stone calls Chuck a coward for no longer competing in tournaments and makes fun of him as usual. He is certain that he would prevail if they were to face off now. Noreen finds the proposal ridiculous, but Lee wants to get Chuck to join their team and finish it. He insisted that Noreen take the initiative and approach the celebrity. Barry looks around as he watches the karate performance in the next scene and is startled to see Chuck sitting next to him. They introduce themselves to each other even though Barry is too starstruck to speak. His dream comes true when Chuck asks him to join hands for the next competition. Barry doesn't waste a second before accepting the offer. Noreen participates in the demonstration during the first round and places second. The second round involves shattering bricks. Lee approaches the stage and requests the addition of one more brick to the stack. He amazes everyone since no one thinks an elderly man like him can become successful. A nunchaku demonstration round is the third. Barry enters the stage with trepidation and begins to perform. He briefly enters his dream state again and visualizes himself mastering the nunchaku. In the end, he accomplishes the same thing in real life, earning the audience's cheers. Chuck battles Stone in the following round, demonstrating that Stone is all talk and no action. He lands every single punch and resists all of Stone's attacks, making him go crazy. At last, he ends the opponent with a powerful blow. However, in the end, Stone's team and Barry's team land on 36 points each, which means the results will be decided by a tiebreaker. The tiebreaker will be a brick-breaking match between Barry and Randy. In the first round, both of them break every brick in the stack, so the second round is made more difficult with a higher stack. Randy goes first, but is unsuccessful in breaking them all before Barry's turn. Lee asks him to remember everything he's been taught till now and gather all his energy. Using his advice, Barry breaks the entire stack in a single blow, making his team the victor. In the last scene, Chuck and Barry are together talking about the tournament. The kid thanks his hero. He has finally let go of his obsession with fantasy now that it has become a reality.